I'm Rob from Barefoot Gaming, and today we take a look at the PXN V10 wheel and pedals. Let's do this. Where to begin? So firstly, this is not my first rodeo in steering wheel reviews. I have covered a plethora of wheels so far, everything from Logitech G27, G29, G920 to their newest G923, as well as the Thrustmaster T150, PiMax T300 to the T248. I've even reviewed the previous entry-level offering to the PXN, the V9. Now the PXN V10 sits in a very unique place amongst them all, supporting PC, PlayStation 4, and Xbox One. If you've been around computers as long as I have, you will be familiar with the name Mad Catz. I should address this point first, since this is very much the base wheel from the Mad Catz Pro model from years ago, but with some seriously upgraded pedals and of course, the shifter. Long story short, years ago, Mad Catz sold off a bunch of their hardware rights. For example, Logitech bought up Cytec. So if you've purchased a Logitech X52 or X56, for example, you are buying older Cytec hardware that's been rebranded by Logitech. Cytec was Mad Catz, etc., etc. Looks to me that that is exactly what happened with the wheelbase on the V10. Except again, they upgraded the firmware, there's new software support, but I'm getting ahead of myself here. This is a helical gear-based force feedback wheel, meaning it is not belt-driven. It's also not direct drive. If you'd like to know the difference between helical and belt, I would highly recommend checking out some of my other videos, as I'm not keen to spend 5 minutes to discuss that again in this one video. The V10 has 4 metal shifter paddles, and the 2 on the top click, whereas the bottom 2 are silent. The suede covered wheel feels really good in my hands, and the black stitching is even and also adds to the quality of the feel. It has a metal red ring crimped to what I will assume is where the seam would have gone, and the face is covered with a multitude of buttons. It has the 4 arrows on the left, your A, B, X, Y, and L3 and R3, 3 function buttons, as well as the PXN button right in the center. And what does the PXN button do, you ask? Well, that is a fantastic question. It changes the mode of the wheel from D input to X input, which, if you are unaware, disables the force feedback. However, it adds compatibility to games that might not otherwise support a racing wheel. I should also mention the wheel itself is fully removable, along the lines of the higher end Thrustmaster wheels like the T300, although there is no replacement for this wheel at this time, but I don't know what the future is going to hold. Flip around to the back and you'll see a switch that lets you change from 90 to 270 degrees, plugs for the included gear shifter and brake, accelerator, clutch, as well as USB cable and power cable. Speaking of the foot pedals, the base itself is made of what feels like a durable, thick plastic, but all the parts that your feet actually touch are covered in steel. It's also fairly large, which in pedals is a good thing, as it doesn't want to get away from you and slide all over the floor while you're trying to step on it. Yes, I said this comes with a clutch. Also, the accelerator is easy push, the brake is hard, and the clutch is somewhere in between. They also have plastic nuts that you can tighten or loosen to adjust the tension on the metal springs, so you can tweak them to feel exactly the way you want them to feel. Speaking to the shifter, it is a 6-speed gated shifter plus reverse. The gate is made of metal, and it has a high-low gear switch as well as a handbrake button. Now, as I said, the gate is metal, as is the actual shifting rod, but the enclosure that holds it all together is plastic, including the clamping mechanism, although that piece does have foam protectors on both sides to prevent scratching of whatever surface you want to attach this to. In case you're wondering how the wheel itself attaches to your table, it is mounted to a metal base, again with foam to protect the tabletop, and you use 2 clamps to secure it, which you tighten with an Allen key. Let's talk build quality. Honestly, the build quality was a really nice surprise. The only other offering from PXN I've tried before was this V9, and this blows this out of the water. They are not even in the same category. In fact, feel-wise, I'd say this ranks right up there with high-end Thrustmaster and Logitech wheels for feel of quality. Now, I say that having only spent a few weeks with it, so I can't speak to how it will hold up a few years from now, but it does feel like a higher-end build. The force feedback is crazy strong, as in I had to turn it down in games that I'm used to using my T300 on. Shoot, even just auto calibration when first plugged into the USB startled me as to how strong this wheel is. This takes me to how to adjust all of the different settings on the wheel, as once again, PXN has decided to use an app for these adjustments. This isn't done through software on your computer, it is done through your phone, and then that in turn connects via Bluetooth to the wheel. I personally don't love that as an interface, but I understand that it's a bit of a necessary evil in this case. Especially getting existing games to add support for your hardware isn't going to be an easy task, but for some games, the app will be required, and you will have to know that going in. I tested a wide range of games with this and had mixed results with compatibility with the force feedback. For example, Project Cars 2 and 3, Assetto Corsa, and iRacing all work great without any tweaks. But Dirt Rally 2.0 requires a file to be downloaded from PXN's website to swap out with your file in Dirt Rally 2 folder to get all the force feedback working. It works as a wheel, but the force feedback doesn't unless you do the change. Also, some games, Wreckfest for example, has the wheel force feedback basically locked so you can't turn the wheel. So you have to go into the app on your phone, adjust the settings till it's loose, and then all the force feedback in the game works perfectly. The negative to that is it doesn't save those settings per game. It is just a general setting. So if you're going back and forth between Wreckfest, for example, and then you want to play Project Cars 3, you have to go back into the app in between and change your settings back again. If you mostly just play iRacing, for example, you'll use the app one time and then you'll forget about it thereafter. The same applies if you're on a console playing Gran Turismo 7 or Forza Horizon 5. Something that is very important that you should also know is you need to make sure your game of choice uses force feedback. So double check that it's compatible with this setup before you even look at buying this. My final thoughts on the V10 is this is a massive step up from the V9, as in not even in the same ballpark. The fact that they give you not only a clutch, as well as a solid 6-gear shifter included in the purchase is definitely something to consider. Then add in the crazy force feedback and you get the PXN V10. However, if you are not okay with using a phone app to adjust your feedback settings, then this would not be the right hardware for you. I can't tell you what to buy, nor do I want to. My only goal is to get you the info you need to decide if this is right for you. Now I'm curious if there's gonna be a V11 or V12, but that's for another Barefoot Gaming review. Lots more reviews coming. In fact, I'm a bit of a backlog at the moment. Like if you like the video so you can help others find this, and subscribe if you want to know when our other videos come out. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you again really, really soon. See ya.